Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater, and oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my fucking god. The Uncharted live action fan film dropped this morning. Now, I talked about this the other day unknowingly. I talked about Nathan Fillion teasing something with Uncharted. Thought it might have been some announcement for the movie that Tom Holland is apparently going to star in. I thought he might be taking on the role of Sully, which, as much as I want him to play Nathan Drake, I figured he could do Sully. He could do an older Sully. But I had no idea. I had no goddamn idea that it was going to be an Uncharted fan film, a 15-minute long Uncharted fan film. And here's the thing: it is good. It is fucking good, right? Like it takes a couple seconds to get going. Cause it's a fan film. It takes place in Baja Peninsula, Mexico. A bunch of vatos end up grabbing Nathan as he's by the border. Bring him back to a mansion where he apparently stole this bracelet that was purchased by these guys as boss. We don't know anything about who this guy is. We don't know anything about who the bad guy is at all. They leave that ominous. They keep it open, which I thought really worked out well, right? Like, they didn't build up a backstory of a bad guy. That's cool, but they kept it ominous. You understood it. You get what they're all about, and I think that was totally on board for what they were trying to do. And then, of course, Nathan Fillion gets he gets announced. He gets we see his face for the first time, and it's a little jarring. It's a little shocking because I'm so used to Nolan North playing the part that seeing Fillion play the part, which is a person I've wanted to see play this part for years now, right? For at least 8 years, he's been campaigning to play this part. Finally played in this fan film is just so wonderful. He nails Nolan North's quips. He nails the jokes. He nails the humor. And there's some good laugh out loud moments where he looks at a bad guy. They look at a compass and like, oh, what's this compass for? It's like, oh, maybe we can use it to find a time machine or to find the guy a haircut that didn't die in the 90s. And I'm paraphrasing terrible, killing the joke. But ultimately, it was really funny. Everyone's laughing out loud. It had kind of throwbacks to the original Die Hard in terms of the humor. One of the guys starts eating a candy bar while Drake's getting beat up, and I thought back to the scene where the guy was like getting a Nestle's from the from Nakatomi Plaza gift store or whatever, while waiting to fight the cops and stuff. Like, there was just like little itty bitty things in this that I thought were just really good, and it looked wonderful. Oh my god! Like, you could tell they shot this on a red. You can tell they put a lot of time and energy and effort into making sure that it looked good, that they choreographed the fight scenes, and it worked. I mean, and the favorite thing, and this is what I've seen no one talk about this in any of the coverage I've seen so far, but when they call in El Tigre, right, the bad guy, the little short bad guy that Drake makes fun of and whatnot, no one saw this. I saw this right away. As soon as we see his face walking in between some of the bad guys, I'm like, oh shit, that's Ernie Reyes Jr. Like, where has he been? Last time I saw him in anything was like freaking The Rundown with The Rock. If you don't remember Ernie Reyes Jr., he was big with Chuck Norris back in the 90s or back in the 80s. Remember the movie Red Sonja? Like the little king? That was Ernie Reyes Jr. Like, there was that I forget the name of the show he was on with Chuck Norris, where he helped him solve crimes as a kid. He was like the alternate short round in the 80s. But oh my god, that was him. I haven't seen him in forever, and he shows up in this fan film, and that's great. But like, no fanfare for him, and I think that's sad. I want to point it out, Ernie Reyes Jr. You are awesome. So I just want to put that out into the world. And then they fight, and it's a really funny fight scene. He ends up beating his ass really easily. I'm like, dude, this guy would whoop you in a heartbeat. But clearly it's a fan film and whatnot. And the whole thing was a ploy. The whole thing was a setup. They, Drake and Sully did in fact steal the bracelet, but they need more information. So Drake got himself purposely captured to go up there and take these notes from whoever this mysterious boss man is, trying to find out what Archibald or what not Archibald, what Albuquerque knew from a crash ship. And then he hung out with Magellan, so they start setting up backstories for like the overall the missing treasure, and it's so freaking cool. Like, it's really building to this, like, ooh, they're gonna go after this buried treasure again, and they reference Shambhala and they reference the city of El Dorado. So this clearly takes place after. I want to say after Uncharted 3. I don't know if it takes place before Uncharted 4 or not. Like, I don't think so. I think it was after 3. and the whole thing was like really well done. But my favorite bit though was when he gets out of the room, he jumps out of a window and lands on the ground. And this is where I really give Allan Ungar, who directed the film, credit, because as he jumps out of this window and crashes on the ground, it goes from widescreen to full screen. So it goes into video game mode, which, as a video game fan film, as an adaptation of a video game, the way they pulled that off was fantastic. They went third person action sequence. They did it, and it worked so freaking well. It worked so freaking well because then it played out like a cover based shooter for the most part. And it was very brief, but it had the vibe. It had the feeling of Uncharted. It very much was what fans wanted, and the fact that it went from widescreen 16:9 to full frame. I'm screwing up the dimensions or the aspect ratio there, but just from, I guess you could say, letterbox to widescreen. How about that? It was just such a nice little touch, such a great little thing. And then, of course, he fights some guys. He does his jump punch that he's famous for, and then him and Sully take off. And Sully's played by Stephen Lang. We know him from the Avatar movie, and he was awesome as Sully. Had a lot of the same kind of just the jokes and the quips were there. Near perfect casting. I still think Bruce Campbell would be better, but that's just me. Fillion, perfect as Drake. Bring me some Bruce Campbell as Sully, and I think I could have probably creamed myself and not even cared. I would have taken a picture of it, posted it on Instagram, hashtagged it Uncharted, and been like, "This is what I want." And I'll bring this to the theater multiple times. And then, of course, they drive up and they meet Elena, who's played by an actress from the show Heart of Dixie. She didn't really embody Elena to me. I felt like Elena should have smoother features, like softer features. I can't quite think of an actress who'd be good in the part, but she did okay, but I didn't really feel any kind of chemistry between her and Nolan, or not Nolan, but Nathan Drake, right? There's always that kind of back and forth. They had it a little bit, but it didn't get any time to grow. We didn't get any real time to have that kind of be a thing with the characters. And I mean, obviously, it's a fan film. Not everything's going to be perfect, but at the end they set up this, like, okay, they unlock the clue from the bracelet with the notes that they found. They realize that that Albuquerque and Magellan tricked everybody, that they knew where the treasure is. It was on a trip or on a ship called the Trinity that's in the Philippines, and it's like that's where they're going next, is the Philippines, and that's where the damn thing ends. And it's like, no, it's so good, keep going, don't stop, you bastards, don't do it. But they did it because it's, again, only so much. But the thing is, I don't know what they spent on this thing. I mean, obviously it just had like the one location, so they just rented a house for probably like a couple days. Something like this could have been shot in probably 2 or 3 days because most of it's dialogue. The action scenes were probably choreographed by Ernie Reyes Jr. And it worked out well. The gunplay stuff, there was no blood, and it was just digital effects on the bullet shot, or of the bullet impacts and everything else in the gunfire. So that would have been all done in post. But it was shot wonderfully. It was acted very, very, very well. And this, to me, is the Uncharted film that so many people out there have been asking for. I remember when David O. Russell was put in charge, tapped by Sony to come in and make the film in 2010. He had been brought in, and Nathan Fillion was campaigning to play the role of Nathan Drake, and he wanted Mark Wahlberg to play the role, and everyone's like, no, stop it, no. Right? And that fell through. So everyone kind of held out hope. Then it kind of went through a few other people over the years, but still no Nathan Fillion being attached. And everyone wanted it. Everyone was campaigning for it. And still, it's like nothing. Sony was just, taking their sweet ass time, as they tend to do, because it's freaking Sony. And then, we got word that Tom Holland is going to be playing young Nathan Drake in a prequel movie that Sean Levy, I guess, is still going to direct, which is fine with me. I thought this was basically what they gave Tom Holland for doing Spider-Man. Spider-Man did really well. Spider-Man's well received. Sony's like, what do you want? He's like, Uncharted. And they said, you got it. Right. But this, my friends, is going to end up taking things to a whole different level. This is going to take things to a whole different level. This, to me, has the same kind of cultural impact and significance as the Deadpool leaked footage from the beginning of August 2014, because when that dropped and everyone saw it for the first time in action, even though it was concept art, it was concept footage, shot the same weekend that the Green Lantern opened, which is just really funny in its own right. And they it did as well as it did. I have a feeling, my thoughts and my feelings are that very much this is the same thing. This is going to have the same impact if gamers see it. Now, the thing is, Uncharted is very much relegated to the Sony franchise, the Sony PlayStation. And so far, you can see on screen here, it just started up today. It's got 39,000 likes, 391,000 views. It's not only being watched on YouTube, but it's being watched on Facebook. And I think probably Instagram TV is going to have it too. It's going to be everywhere because this is Fillion. I have a feeling if you want to ask like who funded this thing, it was probably Fillion. Fillion, this is a proof of concept. I think this is a way for him to get in the door. I think this is a way for him to get a franchise before he hits 50. And that's not a bad thing at all. I think they should do it. I think he is a very big Uncharted fan. He is very much built for the part. Very similar to how we joked how they joked in the Deadpool comic that Deadpool was like Ryan Reynolds mixed with a radioactive Shar-Pei again, and that became the running gag that brought Reynolds into the role that ended up making a shitload of money for both films and making it a huge cultural icon. I'm not going to say the same thing's going to happen here with Nathan Drake and Nathan Fillion, but I do feel that we can find ourselves going down a very similar path. At this point, this is what Tom Rothman and Sony should be looking at. You shouldn't be looking at Tom Holland necessarily. Or if they are going to do it, make Nathan Fillion Sully. Just give him a bit older, a bit grayer hair, a mustache, and a cigar, and he could probably pull it off. But I don't know if he would take it. He did this to show that this is what fans want. He did this to show that it can be done, and with a relatively unknown director, Allan Ungar, who directed the film, had only really done a couple other movies. He did and these are only DTV films. One called Gridlocked and the other one called Tapped Out. And he brought action. He was able to command action in these scenes and really kind of brought it. So this also is going to be a way for him to break out as a proof of concept, to get himself a directing gig on something that's going to be bigger. But I think what we need to realize here, I think if you are a fan of the Uncharted franchise, if you are very big on this and you want to see this be a thing, you have to tweet at Sony. You've got to find Tom Rothman. Tweet at Tom Rothman. Make as big of a splash as you can about this fan film. Because look, this was good. This was better than it had any right to be in terms of how most fan films are. It understood that it's a video game. It understood that it's an action-adventure story, and it played to its strengths. And part of that, insanely so, was Nathan freaking Fillion in the role, a role he was born to play. And I would so rather prefer this over Tom Holland as a young Drake. Now, don't get me wrong. I will still go see it if he's in it, because I like Tom Holland quite a bit. But as a fan of Uncharted since 2007, as a fan of all the games, as just a fan in general, this is what I want to see. This, to me, gave me the same chills and excitement that I had watching the Deadpool test footage 4 years ago at the end of this month. And look at what that got us. I think Sony can turn things around for their fledgling film studio right now, because let's be fair, it's not doing as well as it could. If they took this and they ran with this, it would show that they had an absolute understanding care of the franchise, that they're interested in making good video game movie adaptations, and that they know how to reward the loyal fans who want to see this kind of stuff. Now, at the same time, are they going to do it? The answer to that is probably not. I can be as optimistic as I can until the end of the damn day. I can be as over the moon for this as I want. By the end of the damn day, it all boils down to Sony. And I don't know if their leadership, I don't know if they have the ability to actually make this great. I don't know if they have the ability to make Uncharted movie that's going to be like this. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. I'm hoping that it's going to be good. I'm hoping that they listen. I'm hoping that more fans watch it, and I'm hoping that it cracks 1 million views by the end of the week. With Comic-Con coming up this weekend, it's the best time to pimp something like this. All eyes are on the entertainment world, and this thing being as good as it is, as great as it is, as awesome as it is the one thing fans are looking for right now. And I do truly, truly, truly hope that Sony gives us what we ask for and gives us Nathan Drake as played by Nathan Fillion. But again, these are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe, check back often for movie news and commentary from me. And and I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out. If you enjoyed this video, please consider becoming a patron today for just $1 per month over at patreon.com/mundanematt.